Okay, welcome back everyone. Today we are going to go over my bullet seating technique. It's not rocket science, but there are a few things and tricks I use, especially when I am doing bullet seating depth and powder test seating. This really helps prevent mistakes when sorting and keeping track of which bullets are which. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, and leave a like. If you'd like to help me with this channel, head down to the donate link below this video where you can buy me some coffees or become a member. Thank you for your time, and let's see how I do this. As far as a little organization, with these red tips, which are just 1/4-inch tips to go on the top of like screws, threaded rod or whatever, how I do this when I'm loading, after I do a row of 10, I cap them off with bullets. Then I do another row, cap them off, cap them off, cap them off. But now this chart, which I also take in my case that holds my bullets, I make these charts. So the first 5 here are blow-offs. So I use these red caps. I found them so extremely helpful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to cap the 6th. That is telling me that I am done with my blow-offs and I'm moving to a new target now. Now say if I was doing a 3-shot group for seating test or powder test or whatever, I would put 1, 2, 3, and then a cap. Okay, so I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are my seating tests. 1, 2, 3. That's say this one at 28.2. This is not true here. I just made this for an example. So then over here, I'd be starting at 28.4. See red? And it coincides with the red I made on this little spreadsheet, which means that I'm switching to 28.4. So then I would skip another 2 and put another cap. 1, 2, 3, starting a new one, which coincides right down here, this 28.6. And so on, because I have in the past, and actually almost still do, even though I use this thing. All right, I got 1, 2, 3, then I'm starting a new one. So this lets me know in my bullet case, because after I shoot around, I got a bolt action, I put it back in my case where it came from. In this way, I know if I have Brad Peace, I know it's number 5 or this or that. It's all called organization, and it's very important because it helps you skip something that is bad or good or whatever, and you're not shooting on the same target, because my targets also are a separate target for each one of these groups. So it just helps, you know, in keeping things organized. I don't know, these were like a couple bucks or something, these little red caps. Of course I got them on Amazon. I don't have the number or anything like that, but they're just, I don't know, maybe they call them bolt caps. I don't know, 1/4-inch bolt caps. And I think they even come in other numbers. But the reason I made this spreadsheet, this is a very simple spreadsheet to make. Anybody can make one of these. Is I color, you know, have the fill is red to match my red that is on the tip. So I just thought I'd throw that little tidbit in there. All right, I'm going to have to be showing you in different views now. This is my setup for bullet seating. I use this amp press, and the reason I use it and the reason it is so, gosh, darn important is because of this app, which I'll show you later. I can't figure out a way to show you this and this at the same time with you being able to see this app, because it would be too small. So let's start out first. So this is the amp press, okay? This is for inline seating dies, and for the inline seating dies, Of course, I use the Short Action Customs Infinity APS die. This is already set to 1.662 because that's where I found my seating the best. This is going to be for a different test. Now notice how I still have these red caps on this bullets, which I showed you earlier in the first part of this video. So I would seat these 5 at 1.662. And then if I were doing a seating depth, whatever I'm doing, going up, going down, I would change the die, seat this bullet, okay? Then put it in my case and put the cap back on it and do these 3. Then I would change the seating depth again on that die. Seat the bullet, put it back in my case with the cap on it, and so on and so on. Whether they're seating depth test or powder charge test, whatever it is, that's how I do it. And this amp press just keeps me going, just shows all the things you need to know. So now I'm going to change this camera so you can see the screen and as much as I can show you better. The first thing I want to do is now set my calipers to 0, which I have. I don't know if you can see that. I don't have this set to close focus now because if I do, it's going to ruin everything else. So my calipers are set to 0. And of course I use the Short Action Customs caliper sets. I'd have to look that up, what that is. So I'm going to, what I have to do first is on this amp probe, is there's a button up here that says find X0. So I got to do that first. And what that'll do is this will run this to find out where the top of my die is for what I have it set at. Alright, so our X0 is done. The first bullet out of the blow-offs, just in case I have to make any kind of adjustment or anything, I'm going to slide that in here and hit another thing that's called die setup. This won't do any of the pressure testing or anything. It's just to make sure I have my die set up properly. So now I'll take my calipers. I'll measure this. And we're exactly at 1.662. So it's still set up from last time. Okay, so now we're ready to go into official seating. So I'll take the second one, I'll put it in there, but now I'm going to hit go. This is going to graph this one now. Okay, you see the graph, the green graph? Now I'll just keep going. Now I can do this manually, or what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to have it set up to go auto. As soon as it feels the weight of the die, it's going to go. So there's a thing here called auto run. It's going to ask me to remove any weights, which means the die, remove it from the sensor. Okay, it did that. Now it wants me to put the die back on so it knows the difference between no weight and weight. Now it's going to configure weight. Okay, that's done. So I'll take this out now. I'll put my bullet in. Bada bing. Oops, I'll just put it back where it doesn't belong. Okay, so what we have now on here are 4 bullets. Because the first one I used, if you remember, was to check the seating die setup that it was 1.662, and it was. So then I started keeping track of my seating. This straight line down here shows where it is starting to push the bullet in. And those are all at the same place, which means my bullets are all trimmed to the same length. Okay? Then it goes up, it gets a spike first pushing it in, then goes down and jumps and whatever it does. But they all have that nice little arc on here. And what I try to go to is, this is the pressure. And it's also in this column. Terminal force, starting force. I can put more things up here in this column. But right now I'm between 84 and 93 pounds, which is great. I try to keep within 15 pounds of pressure, and then I can sort these all later also. Now back to these bullets. You'll see this is one with a red tip on it. So that lets me know that, okay, it's time to change my seating die to whatever I'm doing. 3,000ths up, 3,000ths down, or whatever. I would seat it, put the cap back on it, and put it away. Okay, so now back to these. I know if it was seating test, that would be a new seating. But if this was powder test, it's the same thing. You do it the same way. Take this. Take your cap off. You know, after you've made your adjustment, if it's going to be for bullet seating test. However, if these are for powder test, you're not making any adjustment on your die. You just keep rolling, but make sure you keep track by doing this. You take your bullet out, put your cap back on it, and put it back in the case in the same row, in the same place as it shows in this chart I made up. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. I'm trying to say it as simple as I can, but that's it. And that's how it works. These are all going to be seated the same. They're all the same powder and everything for me, so I'm just going to roll forward and seat the rest of these. But if you'll notice now, and this is something that's been going on for about a month now. I almost put it in the wrong place. You see this little spike here now? On that last one we just did? I'm getting these every so often. It makes me think there's a donut. But I looked in there and I checked in there with like a dental pick and everything. I find no donuts. I don't know what's going on here. I have to figure this out, but they're all the same pressure, but I'm getting these little donuts here. Now, a month or so ago, I did a video on this Short Action Customs Infinity die, and I took it all apart to show you the innards. I really don't think it's this die. If it was something in the die, it would show up on every bullet. So I've got to get to the bottom of that, and when I do, I'll let you know. But I think there was a software update to this not long ago, and it seems like ever since I did that software update, I'm getting this. So that's how I do my seating die test. And as far as separating with these colors and all that, if you just have a regular hand press, you know, a one throw press, or however you do your seating, organizing is the same way. You're just not going to see what's going on, you know, where your problems are. You know, this one, the pressure could be way down here. And I would be able to see that and know that, and I would sort that. And I would decide what to do with it later. But this shows me. So I'm going to seat the rest of these, and then I'll show you the final thingamajigger. Okay, now we're at the end now. I finished them all. There were 40, so it should show 39. Yes, it shows 39 because the first one I did, remember, was for the die setup. So there are quite a few of them in here with this spike in this area. I don't understand what it is. I don't have donuts. I checked visually and I checked with a dental pick running down there. I would hit something if there was a donut. And I also used a pin gauge, the proper size pin gauge, and it's not hitting anything. I think this has something to do with the software. I'm going to find out. But anyways, it's a pretty nice group. Now, for competition, if you see this top one, these two, and these couple lower ones, I would just pull them. Because I can simply put the arrow on it and see how it turns green. It tells me that's bullet 26. I can pull that. Same with that one. That is bullet 34. This one down here, that's bullet 18. So I can now sort them and pick my very finest ones that are in this nice middle area here, which is, if we sort this to terminal force now, I had a terminal force of 81 to 98, point something, whatever. So that's 17. That is not bad, but once I take these out, I don't think I can select just these. I'd have to do them one at a time. If I wanted to select just the best ones, I would take these out. I would mark these and pull that bullet, okay? Then I would delete. I can go in here, hit edit, and remove plot. That would remove just that plot. So, and it'll remove it from this table too also. And then when I get just these ones in here, I can read it. So from here it's about 80, so it goes in 4. Each one of these blocks is 4. So we're at about 84 to 87. So those are very good, the ones that I will, shred out. But now if you're just using a regular press, you're going to have no idea about this. You're not going to know what's going on there at all. Even with one of those ones that has the gauge on it, it's not the same. It's an electronic cell, pressure cell that's in here that tells you every single move of the way. Anyhow, that is how I do my bullet seating. And when I get to the bottom of what's going on here, which I think is a software issue, I will let you know.